Well, hello everybody, welcome back. I'm super excited to be filming this makeup look today because it's kind of a combination of things. I just had the absolute honor and pleasure of getting my makeup done by Kevin Kodra. Kevin is here, he's gonna do my glam.
It's finally happening.
I've been waiting for this moment. Even though it was for a sneaky special little shoot, I still stole a couple of products and some techniques that he used on my face. It was also only a partial glam. Like, I very much look forward to the day where I can book Kevin in to do his full signature glam look on my face because he's incredible. I've been following him for a very long time, but he's a booked and busy man. So fingers crossed that I'll be able to experience that later in the summer or someday, but today is not the day. But I did take a few sneaky peeks and some things that he used on my face. So I wanted to show you a couple of things that I learned from having my partial makeup done by Kevin Kodra. And then also, dear Shamir, I apologize if I'm butchering your name. I think it's Shamir, username Iraj. She requested that I do a full glam shimmer snatched look for summer. And she sent me an email, sweet, sweet angel, with a few attached photos of just some really beautiful, I would call this soft glam, soft summer glam. So I figured I would marry the two worlds together. Dear Shamir, thank you so much for sending that over. We're gonna bedazzle ourselves a little bit today and at the same time using a few of the tips that I gleaned from Kevin's magical hands. So let's dive right in. Guys, I did get to experience his entire skin prep. And it was a lot. It was very bougie, but I did actually have a few of the products on hand from PR. These were sent to me, and then I did pick up the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Oil Infused Serum because this is something that he's been talking about for some time. You guys know how I feel about my skincare routine. I do love to stick to my same things, but in the effort of doing the Kevin Kodra glam way, we are sticking with his skin prep. So this is the first thing that he used on my face, this little fresh serum. So I went and picked this up at Sephora literally this morning. So we're just gonna smack that into our palms. And he took his time doing the skin prep and he gave me like a full facial massage. It felt so magical. And that's very common practice for all of the makeup artists that we've had the pleasure from learning from over the years. They really take their time to do skin prep, and that's like the biggest part of the makeup looks that they do. So just pressing that into my skin, that feels like a lot more oily than I thought. It is oil infused serum, but okay. Then he had a ton of skincare products all just decanted in two smaller little travel size bottles, and he squirted this one out and I was like, Kevin, is that Glow Recipe? And he was like, how'd you know? And I said, you can't mistake a Glow Recipe serum. I don't know which one specifically he used, but my assumption very strongly is that it was the Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrops serum. This is one of their most popular products. You can't mistake the smell nor the color, this beautiful pink serum. So this is what he went in with after. And I'm trying to just press and give myself a similar little facial massage. And this is very much like a makeup prep. This is not like an everyday skincare. We've got no sunscreen in here, but these products are to be used to really amp up that glow. My skin was shining from the heavens and it looked real nice, if I do say so myself. So then the cream, he went in with the La Mer Soft Cream. Okay, this is a very, very, very bougie product. It's definitely a makeup artist favorite, and it's one of those things where I'm like, is it as good as they say? It's a product I've used before, but it's just so expensive, and it's a moisturizer. Like, you can just not spend that much money on a moisturizer. But the soft cream, when he was blending it in, I was like, wow, wow. And I had this actually from a previous holiday PR package, so I cannot claim to have purchased this. La Mer, thank you very much for sending. But I do know that it is a makeup artist favorite, a celebrity favorite. And apparently it's also a Kevin Kodra favorite. So that was the cream that he put on. Woo! Like, listen, this is like sprinkling gold and diamonds onto my face here, but the glow was real. Now during the shoot, we were obviously doing a full face of nude sticks, but a product that I've seen Kevin use a lot was the Makeup Forever palettes. And I've tried the HD Skin palette, but this is like the new and updated version that they just sent. This is the HD Skin Face Essentials palette. And so this not only has like the skin tones and the contours, but it also has the blushes and the highlights. And I've seen, not even just Kevin, so many people have been raving about this on the internet. So I thought I would dive in because this is a fresh palette. I don't know what my skin tone is going to be, so I might have to mix a few of these together. But Kevin definitely loves to apply products on with his fingers first, and then he was dipping between brushes and a sponge to blend everything out. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of try to mix a few of these shades together just to find my proper skin tone, do a little bit of shade matching here, and we will just blend that out with our fingers and kind of go back and forth blending this all around. I'm pretty much just mixing together the top 2 shades here because that seems to be a good match for my skin right now. And it's kind of nice to be able to do this if you're traveling a lot, to have one of these palettes just on hand. I know Karen, I Love Zeddy, uses this palette a lot too while she's traveling because you just get so many options in here. If you like cream products, it's an amazing option. If you do makeup, if you're a makeup artist and you do makeup on a bunch of different skin tones, just having the different shades of these, like, it'd be perfect, you're set. It's also a really beautiful formula. It's really creamy and it just blends right in and has a really lovely, very natural finish on the skin. So I'm sure that's also why it seems to be a makeup artist favorite. So I'm also gonna blend that on my neck because there's some fragrance in these and my neck just like instantly reacts. I'm actually so sensitive to scents and fragrance and it really shows instantly on my neck. Look at how red that is. Wow, wow. I also wanted to let you know that I washed my brushes for the occasion, so we are working with fresh and clean brushes all to do this look. Oh, really? This is such a beautiful formula. I'm just gonna blend it all in, but I'm not even really having to do any blending because it's just melting right in. It's so pretty. So I'm taking this as a base, blending that all over, just evening out that skin tone. I've got a lot of redness always in my face, so I'm gonna just apply this as a nice layer on top. Oh, I almost forgot. Kevin also says to not hold your brush here, which is what I always do. He says to hold it at the end so you get a really soft touch. I totally forgot. I just went straight in. My bad. The glow is glowing. The glow is giving. Now let's go in and do a full underpainting because Kevin just did total underpainting, like full contour, bronzer, cream blush all over the face before going in with concealer. So we're gonna do that. Now, again, I'm gonna mix a few of these shades together, but one thing that Kevin also talks about and did on my face is to buff the product into your hand first and not go directly in, which again, with my daily makeup, I can definitely skip out on sometimes. That's very warm. Oops. Oopsie doodles. Give me a little bit more of that cool shade. Whoops. When he was applying the cream bronzer onto my face, he really kind of took it everywhere, especially when you're doing the underpainting. You can kind of get away with a little bit more of that. And he was also using a very fluffy brush. I'm sorry, I didn't actually get exactly which brush it was, but he had a fluffier brush and he was applying it very lightly, but I don't know if you guys could see in the shot when I had the bronze all over my face, but it was very much like everywhere, which I love to do. So I was happy to see that. Taking that up all the way onto my forehead and also onto my eyelids. This step definitely helps to hone in on that very snatched summer glam, just having that kind of monochrome bronze all over. I'm also gonna take some on my nose. I'm being a little bit messy with this because we're gonna go in with concealer after, so just kind of getting that general mapping all over my face. I'm loving how bronzed and glowing this is looking. Wow. I've got to be honest with you, for the cream blush, I don't love the options in here, but I'm thinking we could mix a little bit of the coral and this pink together to create something that we like. I don't know. I don't love the color. I just scooped a little mixture out of the blushes so I can apply it with my blush brush. So I'm just gonna go in with the blush brush. And the one thing that Kevin really emphasizes is going up underneath the eye. He really takes the blush everywhere and says to even take it onto the forehead. He was like, put the blush on the forehead. And I thought, wow, okay. Let's try that. So we are covered. Now it is time to go in with concealer, and I'm gonna do my best again to do the Kevin Code replacement of the concealer. And he talks a lot about the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I have this in my collection. I don't know if it is expired. It seems to be okay. I don't know. We're gonna go ahead and try it. This is the shade Snow, so it's a little bit lighter, using this to brighten and highlight the face. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the placement that he does, which is just right here under the eye. And then a little line right here. And he also does a little bit underneath the contour. On the chin. On the forehead. And I'm just gonna switch to a smaller little brush because this is what I always ruin, but just taking a little line down the nose. Now here's where we gotta hold our breath and get a little technical, because basically what he says is to do one under eye at a time, first blending out the concealer with a sponge, and then taking your pink powder. He loves a pink setting powder, so this is my Givenchy number 3. I'm just gonna preemptively tap a little bit of that out. He loves a powder puff. Get your little powder puff on hand because we're gonna be using that to blend it out. So I'm gonna pre-pack my powder puff with the powder, so dipping it in and taking the excess off on the back of my hand, preloading the puff, and I'm gonna blend out one eye at a time with the sponge and then set it with the powder. I have yet to actually try this fully, so dear Kevin, I'm holding my breath and I am attempting this for you. So look up in an effort to try to not have any creasing on this under eye. Okay, blending that out, packing it in, and then I'm gonna set it with the puff. How'd that go? The faces we make while doing such a thing. Okay, and set it in. How do we feel? Okay, but now what do we do for the rest? Maybe I was supposed to do the eyes last. Anyway, that's fine. We'll just go in and blend the rest of the face around with the sponge. I've been using my brushes so much lately, I forgot how easy and swift it is to just do this with the sponge. And then you basically just use the same process, just pat the rest in. I'm going a little bit lighter because I don't want it to be so incredibly matte. I do like a little bit of glow left behind, so I'm just taking a very small amount on the puff and just going around and setting that in. So this is the setting powder. Now we need to go in with the finishing powder because we got layers. So Kevin's a big fan of the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish Powder. And I'm just gonna take a little brush. In the Nikki Makeup Masterclass, she also talked about the differences between a finishing powder and a setting powder, and she also used both. So it just kind of depends on obviously what you have access to, what your preference is. I don't notice the biggest difference. You can take it, you can try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it, and that's fine. But here's the first layer. Now we're gonna go in with a layer of powder products on top of this. Now again, we were at a nude stick shoot and we were teasing something exciting that's coming. So we didn't use any other powder products. So I'm just gonna use my own little faves here. I've got my Dior bronzer, the highlighters, and I've also got the Hourglass Ethereal Glow blush, which I personally think is just such a pretty shade to layer on top. So I'm gonna start with the Dior Backstage bronzer and just use this. This is like such a soft powder. Honestly, it's barely noticeable when you put it on, but if you like to layer up your cream and powder products, this is a beautiful option. I'm just kind of gonna touch a little bit of this around. This is also such a pretty eyeshadow color. Kevin's a big fan of NARS Thrill. I originally actually bought that shade because of him in many of his videos. I think I'm just loving this shade. Kevin's skin is much deeper than mine, so obviously it looks so good having that like deeper, more intense pink, but I think for my skin tone, this softer pink just works a lot better. And making sure to bring the blush right up into the under eye because he was very adamant about having those two worlds blended and married together. I also can't help it. I'm just so much more messy with my makeup application. I'm definitely not as precise and I don't take my time like a makeup artist would. They definitely are just so much more delicate and intentional with their makeup placement. I definitely do a little bit more of a throw it all over my face. And finally, highlight. I'm gonna do a little mixing of the shades in here and I'm gonna use a small eyeshadow brush and just pop that right onto the tops of the cheekbones very, very precisely. And on the nose. The final step for the Kevin Kocher base, he used 2 setting sprays and he was very, very strongly loud about his love for both of these. So I did go and pick both of these up. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I was about to say setting powder. The setting spray. This is something I've used before, definitely when I've done like full face of Charlotte Tilbury videos in the past. It's not something I've kept in my daily rotation, but he was like, no, this is the setting spray. And I was like, okay, say less, I'll go pick it up. And then him and the rest of the world apparently have been going off about this one size waterproof setting spray. I've seen so many people rave about this and he did this as a final step. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock this in. And he like drenched my face in this. So I'm gonna do the same. Oh damn, that smells really good. The one size, I've never even sprayed this before. Ooh, okay. That one smells like hairspray. Honestly, the base is looking pretty insane. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows and then I'll join you for eyes. Okay, the brows are done and I've zoomed you in a little bit because we're gonna move on to eyes. I'm gonna do a little bit of a brown liner moment because I think it's always nice to start with a little bit of a brown liner. So this is the Makeup Forever Limitless Brown which is definitely a shade that I have been loving lately. And Kevin also did a little brown liner and blended it out when he did my makeup, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna map out a little bit of the natural V that's already existent in my crease. And I'm just doing the same on the other side. I also just really don't play with eye makeup anymore, and I feel like I've lost any skill that I may or may not have had. Whenever I do this, I'm like, how do I do this again? Am I doing it right? I'm just going in with the pencil and applying a little bit more because I feel like I was losing my pigment there. I'm keeping a clean blending brush on hand to just blend out in between every single step. And then I'm going back in with that liner, and I'm just gonna take that along the lower lash line and waterline. The liner is blended out. Let's go in with some eyeshadow. Now I'm kind of going off the cuff here because the examples that Shamir emailed me were all from the same makeup artist, and she used a lot of like very shimmery, very soft Chanel and a lot of YSL palettes. And I had the new little collection that came in PR from Chanel. These beautiful little palettes. This is Rivage and this is Coral Treasure. Really pretty, very soft. Honestly, stunning colors for spring and summer. But I'm gonna start off with this brown here because the Chanel eyeshadows, and same with the Dior eyeshadows, just have this kind of soft, buttery texture to them. I don't really know how to explain it. They're not like full-on pigment, so for really soft glam, kind of red carpet inspired makeup looks, they're just perfect. So I'm just taking this brown and I'm gonna so softly run that on top of the eyeliner that we blended out, and it's gonna give it this really diffuse feel to it, which I just love so much. It's still giving glam, but just not in an intense way. I think I'm gonna take a little mixture of these two coral shades because they're really nice and warm, and I actually think that'll have a lovely effect on this summer glam that we're doing. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that just right onto the lid, and it'll add some kind of texture and a little bit of warmth. Like, I think that's a really nice layer. I'm just gonna quickly top up a little bit of the liner on the top lash because I feel like I blended it all away. Now, one thing that all of the inspo looks had in common was just like a really beautiful shimmer all across the eyelid. So I pulled out my Victoria Beckham shimmers. I think the shade Honey is the one that we're looking for here. I'm just taking a little bit off the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna press that all over the top of the lid. Let's go in with mascara. One of the mascaras that Kevin was raving about was the brown mascara from the L'Oreal Voluminous line. I went to the drugstore and this one said black brown. There was none that said brown, so I'm hoping that this is the one. Either way, love this. Love a little L'Oreal classic. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this on my upper and lower lashes. I love a brown mascara on any given day, but when you're doing like a warm summer glam, it just complements the warm tones in the eyeshadow so much more than a black. Okay, so the eyes are done, and the final thing I want to talk about are the lips. And this goes out to all the gals who have been telling me to buy the ColourPop Ashton lip pencil as well as the Cool BFF pencil, okay? Just sending all the love to you. I hear you. I did pick up both. So these are the ColourPop lippy pencils in Ashton and Cool BFF, and we're gonna test it right now. I've got my OG NYX Nude Beige, the color that is long lost because they reformulated it, so sad. We're gonna see how they compare. So here's NYX Nude Beige, here's Cool BFF, there's Ashton. Ashton is definitely closer. The Cool BFF is a little bit more gray, but that is pretty freaking close, you guys. I love how I decided to do this on the day when I'm doing warm makeup. It's okay, we'll figure it out. I'm gonna put Ashton on. It's so much more creamy than the NYX one is. The NYX is a little bit more of just like a classic lip pencil feeling. It's a little bit more dry. This is like creamy, glidey. It's a little bit more of like a true gray. It's more in the realm of like the Makeup Forever Endless Cacao, which is still so pretty. But yeah, beautiful creamy pencil, indeed. Let's bring a little warmth back to this. I'm gonna use the Armani Prismaglass 02. I think this will be a really nice combo. I mean, listen, you guys, it is really so close. So thank you so much to those of you who did the research and brought ColourPop Ashton into our lives. This one's for you. Shout out to you. Love you. Thank you. So this is the finished look inspired by my little makeup session with Kevin Kodra, as well as the inspo pics that Shamir sent along. So thank you so much. I hope you guys loved the look. This little whatever you want to call it, snatch, soft, summer glam, something a little bit extra bedazzled for you on this fine day. And at the same time, we've tested a whole whack load of some fabulous new products. So let me know what you guys think of the look in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for a new video. Bye!